Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us worldwide syndicated on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire through Abundant Television. Again, thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate that. You know, a lot of schools take school trips, and we used to when I was a kid, and they're still doing that as well. So I have for you 17 tips for field trips. So let's talk about this. Some of you parents work as chaperones, so you can help the teachers by doing that. And it also just adds a little more safety within the group if some of the parents are involved. So let's talk about that. Number one, I can tell you this for sure, wear comfortable shoes and clothing. Do that because you're going to be running around trying to round up kids almost like chasing cats. I mean, it's almost to that degree. I know it sounds like no-brainer, but we really got to remind you to make this day a lot of fun. Wear hiking boots, wear tennis shoes, anything your feet's going to feel comfortable. Now, don't buy new tennis shoes. This is a tip right here from teacherbuddyhelps.com. Don't buy new tennis shoes for today unless you want to spend at least 2 days wearing to break them in. You need to do that. And she says, I speak from experience. I did that once and ended up with blisters. So, okay, teachers and parents are going these field trips. Number two, this is really good when they assign each student a partner. It's got to be somebody they like. You know how that could be. There are numerous reasons for assigning partners. And the first is to make sure the day is nicer. For many of them, your bus seating is already worked out. By doing this, just look at the kids, see where they're sitting with who on the bus. If they are very young, there might be 3 to a seat. So you can have some partner groups set up front and back for the rides there. And then the author goes on to say, I'll discuss 2 other reasons coming up. So again, this is on teacherbuddyhelps.com. Some really good tips. Number 3, number your partner groups and practice to be sure each pair knows their number. Now, this is not only for school groups, this is for church groups as well. This is the favorite tip according to the author. She says, make them stand together and hold hands with their partner and that they're with, and then hold their hands up in the air. Yes, even 6th graders, probably not middle schoolers. You know how that can be. Then you only have to count 12 or 15 for your quick scan just to make sure you have everybody. Say 1 and the pair actually says here or some other cute word, and then 2 on and on until you have them all. I'm thinking Christmas Vacation. You remember that, where it's a big group, they're in a hurry, they're trying to get out on the Christmas vacation, and they leave one behind in the house. You never want to do that. Now, with young students, begin practicing this 2 days before the field trip. After a few tries, they're going to get pretty good at it, and they'll probably have suggestions for you on how to do it. You can think of the catchy phrase like something like buddy up. Let's buddy up, everybody, and get ready to go on that trip. Number 4, keep all the students with you. This is like an absolute. I know right away that some of you will disagree with me on this one, but take a minute to read why I say this. Okay, so let's read it. First and foremost, you are the one responsible for the students. Really, the buck does not go away from you. You're it. You cannot give away this responsibility. So if something happens to a child and they're not with you when it did happen, and you don't want to think about that possibility. Too many things can happen. I know that you take parent volunteers with you and you're tempted to assign 4 student kids to a parent and allow them to go off on their own. Just be really, really careful. Sometimes you got to check out the parents and make sure they're responsible too. Some parents never grow up. So don't do it. Don't let the parent go out on their own with this, okay? You're setting yourself up for some serious issues that could possibly happen. It's time to assign each parent a couple of students to watch over. You do the assigning, okay? You're the teacher. But keep the whole group with you. That way you can deal with any issues that may come up, any arguments between the students, a skinned knee, things like that. Whatever the issue, you're going to be there for it. Now, here's the real incident that happened when this person was an assistant principal. Again, the website here is teacherbuddyhelps.com, teacherbuddyhelps.com. So this happened. There were some classes on a trip to the zoo. Since there were kindergarten students, we had them wear a tag with the name of the school and the office phone number on it. And that's a good tip too, by the way. I got a call from the zoo security office telling me that one of the students was in his office because he got separated from the group. He said that a nice couple saw him and brought him to security. I asked him if he had contacted the teacher. He said no, he didn't know where the part was she was in. So I took down his phone number and said I would contact her and get right back to him. Now here is the troubleshooting part of the story. When I called the teacher's cell phone and asked her if she knew where Jose was, she said, no. I can imagine she had that deer in the headlights look. She said that he was assigned to a parent to watch. I told her he had gotten lost and that he is currently at security office and she must go there immediately to get him. Then I had to phone the district office to notify them that this had happened, and I had no phone to the parents to tell them about it also. You see how that ramification, you can get involved with other people. You got to make sure you're spot on. I didn't want to have to explain to the parents their child had been lost for a few minutes, but everything's okay now. So keep those kids with you, okay? Keep them with you. Now this is really good right here. It's number 5. Take along a mini first aid kit. If your school does not have a mini first aid kit for field trips already made for you, I suggest you make your own. You only need a few items like Band-Aids, gauze, tape, disinfectant wipes, and ointment. Make sure you got that going on, okay? Hopefully you won't have to use it, but if you do, you'll be glad you had that handy. And it won't take up a whole lot of room. You know, Dollar Tree, which is $1.25 now, they have some little kits that are put together, and it's not expensive at all. I get several of them. Believe me, it's worth it. Somebody's going to fall down and get a scant knee. That's just the way it is. Okay, let's see. Number 6, make sure you keep all lunches in 2 boxes with handles on the front seats of the bus until it's lunchtime. You know, this is another reason the author says I learned from trying it in a few different ways. One year I had each child carry their own lunch to the bus. That ended up being a huge mistake. I had some students sneaking, trying to eat some of it on the way, like before lunchtime. They ended up making a big mess on the bus. Another time I had the driver put the boxes under the bus. That was a mistake also because it gets very hot under there. And some of the food was really kind of yucky afterwards. So the best place is inside the bus where it's cooler, but all together until time to pass them out for lunch. And you know what? Raising a boy like I did, they're going to get hungry. They could eat anytime, okay? There will be no food left on the bus. They're going to think somebody else's lunch looks good, you know, so really keep them up front. Nobody can mess with it. Okay, number 7, I think this is a good one too. Because again, you got boys, especially, this is going to happen. Don't allow eating or drinking on the bus. You can get the idea from the explanation above why you don't want any children eating or drinking on the bus. Usually the driver tells the students that before leaving the school parking lot, but you really do need to enforce it. Again, I'm not picking on the boys, but that's just how it is. Okay, don't allow young students to bring money or cell phones. Yeah, this is a different world, right? I realize that you teach middle school or high school this rule. Sometimes it doesn't apply, but I strongly suggest this for elementary age students. One year I allowed them to bring money, and I had students wanting to stand in line at the concession stand or go into the gift shop. Of course, you don't want them to buy things and not the ones without any money. So either way, somebody's going to be disappointed because some students will have money and some won't. That's just the way it is. So if you make it the rule, no money allowed, you won't even have to deal with this issue. Of course, for cell phones, the main issue is the games they might play or the apps they might try to access. With older students, this could be more difficult to control, so I really don't have advice for that. She says, sorry. Another reason, personally, I'm thinking about that, no cell phones, is it's easy to clone a cell phone. Even though it's digital, you can do that. It's also easy for some weirdo to get himself or herself locked into that kid's phone and start making these really, really weird deals with the kids. So just no cell phones, okay? Just say no. You've got teachers around, you have parents around who are going to be helping with that as well. They have cell phones, that's all you need. Make students go to the restroom with their partners. This rule helps students stay safe from strangers because you got people lurking out there who are going to really make it weird. Let me give you a story. So I helped once, I'll never do it again. I helped once with a little kid's beauty contest. So I saw some weird characters out there, and I'm thinking, I wonder if they belong to any of these kids, like parents, grandparents, or whatever. But there was one guy that really caught my eye. I just felt like he was there for the wrong reason, little girls. So we had a little break, and I thought, I'm going to go talk to this guy. So I went over there and I said, "Oh, so glad to see you. Do you have a child or a grandchild who is in the beauty contest?" He knew what I was up to. He knew what I was asking. He left. I feel like he was up to no good. Okay, so why this really makes sense. Make students go to the restroom with their partners. This rule helps students stay safe from strangers. When two are there together, they can watch out for each other. I would suggest making a group of 3 rather than partnering with a boy or a girl. I agree with that as well. And a pro tip is to have them use the restroom in the morning at school before they even board the bus. But you know what? That never works. By the time you get down the road, somebody's got to go. That's just the way it goes. Number 10, it's a good idea to make the trip be about learning. Totally agree with that. Since this is a school trip, it's always best if you tie some learning into the trip. A zoo, a museum, national park, all those things are excellent ideas. One year, the author says, when I taught 6th grade, our town had the sheriff's office next to the courthouse, so we took a trip to both. Good idea. The sheriff gave them a tour, and then in the courthouse, we went into 2 courtrooms to observe the proceedings. I think that's an excellent idea. Especially the liberal media right now wants kids to be afraid of police officers. Shouldn't be afraid. Got to have some respect going on there. That teaches respect with law enforcement. And then if they go into the courtroom, they may think about that later on when they get older. Do I ever want to be in a courtroom? And see what really happens. It's not like on television, right? Let's go ahead and cut into a break. We've already had 10. Let's go ahead and cut into a break, and we'll start back with number 11. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for 2 or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we're back from commercial break. My name is Donna Fiesel. I'm your host from The Edge. You can find us on IC Radio. Sometimes I forget to tell you about that. icradio.media. And you can listen to our music all day long. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. And then also you can find us on television two different ways. Channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I do appreciate you listening. We're talking about what to do on field trips, and this can be a school group, it could be a church group, but I've got 17 tips for you, and we're going to talk about those. So to begin with, field trips are really a blast. They're a whole lot of fun. So the number one was wear comfortable shoes and clothing. That's a must. Okay, don't wear high heel boots out there. You're going to be tired and exhausted. Then you're not going to feel like running after a whole bunch of school kids. Assign each student with a partner, somebody they like, and pretty much, you can figure that out by looking at who they're sitting by on the school bus. We talked about that. Number 3, number your partner groups and practice to be sure that each pair knows their number. 2 or 3 to a group, depending on how many kids you have out there. Okay, 2 to 3 would be awesome. Number 4, keep the students with you. Yeah, you got to do that. That's an absolute must. And then here's something not to do. It's time to assign each parent a group of partners to watch over, but keep the whole group with you. That way you can deal with any issues that come up, any arguments between students, a skin knee, whatever the issue could be. If you're prepared, whatever you do, I don't care how prepared you are, something odd's going to happen. But if you're fully prepared, I promise you're going to be glad you went through the preparation, because you're going to have a lot less issues. Number 5, take along a mini first aid kit. Somebody's going to get skint knee. That's just the way it is, land of the law. So you want to make sure you got Band-Aids, make sure you got antiseptic, so that way there are no infections and that kind of thing, just in case it happens. Number 6, keep all lunches in 2 boxes with handles and in front of the school bus until lunchtime, because you got these sneaky boys who are going to try to eat everybody's lunch. I know that from raising one. Okay, number 7, no eating or drinking allowed on the bus. First of all, you're going to have a mess to have to clean up. You won't have time for that. And it's just a good idea, okay? And also, don't allow young students to bring money or cell phones. We talked about that. Number 9, make students go to the restroom with their partners. Safety issues there is what we're talking about. Okay, and then also, number 10, it's a good idea to make the trip to be about learning. Absolutely. And I really love the example they gave on this one. And they said it was a school trip they had. And they went to a local sheriff's office. Okay, so you're taking care of stuff that, law enforcement is thought of as being the bad guy nowadays. They're not, but that's the thought. And so you're letting the kids see how friendly law enforcement is and that they're there to actually help them. And then the second trip they took, the sheriff let them take a tour into the courthouse. So they went into 2 courtrooms to observe the proceedings. That might help a little bit later in life. Think about doing something you shouldn't do, maybe out with the wrong crowd. Those kids are going to remember, courthouse drama. Not so sure I ever want to be involved with that. Number 11, review all the rules the day before the trip. That's an absolute must. Go over the rules in detail the afternoon before the trip. With the older students, you can ask them why you think they made that item a rule. It's interesting to hear them explain to their peers why you designated those rules. The girls, when it comes to the food thing, the girls are going to say, I know why, so they don't eat my food. So that could be the answer to that. The author also says, I also suggest that you review the most important items that morning before boarding the bus. Yeah. And let me tell you this about kids. If you're kind of wishy-washy about stuff, if you're kind of like, well, I guess we can have, the kids are going to run all over you. What you have to do is be structured and look them all in the eyeballs. You need to do that. And just, there's no ifs or ands or buts about these rules. They are the rules. And we're going to adhere to those rules. And you can say it in such a nice way that they're not even going to know that you're jamming them. Okay, so do that. Make sure you are serious about this. And there's no leeway, okay? Because kids can partner off even at young ages. Okay, let's see, number 12. Only take a certain number of parent helpers. And I can understand why they're saying this. The author says, and by the way, teacherbuddyhelps.com. This is a good one. Over the years, I found that more parent helpers were not actually better. Now, with older students, I took between them 1 to 3. For primary grades, I tried to take 4 or 5. Of course, the choice is yours to make, but I found that when you take extra, some of them actually slack off and don't really help, And so also, you need to try to find ones whose children will not cling to them all day. Oh, little kids get jealous of other kids, and that is true. That's absolutely true. Because you want the students to enjoy their classmates and the venue instead of clinging to their mom the entire trip. Okay. All right. Of course, I realize there may be certain circumstances where a parent may be going specifically to be with a child, for example, special education or maybe behavior issues. And then that does make it allowable for them to help with their child. Absolutely. Okay. So we've got number 13, ride the bus with your students. Yeah, you're not like the special person who gets to ride in the car without being with the students. The more they're around you, the more they're going to know you are serious about what you say. You need to be on the field trip bus to supervise your students. That's it in a nutshell. So this is so that you can supervise their behavior and make them behave on the bus the same way you make them behave in the classroom. Don't assume the driver will discipline them. He or she will be driving. You need to be supervising, okay? I mean, a bus driver, maybe they have never been on this trip before this particular venue. They got to keep their eye on the road, because nowadays it's rougher than it used to be. When I was a kid in school, you didn't have other drivers with cell phones texting while they were driving and all that kind of stuff. But on something like this, nowadays that driver needs to focus only on driving and not disciplining the children. Sometimes when an entire grade level goes somewhere together, some of the students may have to ride the other bus. If this happens, make sure you write the names of those students down and give the paper to one of the teachers on the bus and make them the person in charge of your students for the bus trip over. That's a grand idea right there. I love that. Number 14, let's come up with that. Take all the students' contact information with you in a small notebook. Something you just kind of tuck in your pocket, or maybe if you have one of those little fanny bags, I suggest you bring those. I know they're not in style anymore, but I'm going to tell you what, they come in handy. You need to have the names and addresses of your students' parents along with the contact phone number. It's best to have both a work number and their cell phone number. You know, what if they have a bad cell phone service where they work? Okay, also, if the child has an allergy, document that in the notebook. You got to know that. What if the child doesn't tell you they're allergic to peanut butter and everybody wants to order peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? If you, something like that, you got to know those things. And if there are special concerns about that child, you got to note that in the notebook, okay? It's best to have it handy and not need it to be wishing later that you'd had it. This is one thing you want to make sure that you don't forget, okay, when you're going on that trip. That needs to be right by your handbag, waiting to go. Okay, number 15, it's best to go with another class in your grade level, if possible. There's always more safety with two teachers rather than going by yourself. Now, she says when she was the author at teacherbuddyhelped.com, she says, when I was a student, or a principal, the student passed out on a field trip and was taken in by an ambulance. Since the classes were together, the child's teacher was able to go with her to the hospital while the other teacher assumed the responsibility for both maintaining classes, with the parent helpers were there also. Also, the likelihood of this happening is slim, but you can see from the incident, as I described above, it does happen periodically. It can happen, okay? Maybe they get nervous because they're not used to being with a whole bunch of people somewhere else. Because of COVID-19, a lot of kids now are claustrophobic. Did you know that? Yeah, it brought that whole issue on now. So there are whole new concerns past COVID. Number 16, don't plan anything that day after work. There's a reason for that. We're going to talk about it. When you get home after field trips, you're just going to be pooped. You're going to be so exhausted. If it's not physically exhausted, which she says I always was, at least you'll be mentally exhausted. It's like herding cats, I'm telling you. You don't want to have to go anywhere except a comfy place to take a nap or just somewhere to chill out. Do a Calgon take me away bath. That's gonna solve all kinds of things. Number 17, the last one, have fun. That's what these things are all about. Enjoy the field trips as much as you can while staying diligent about student safety and behavior. As an added bonus, on the bus ride home, at least a fourth of the students will fall asleep anyway, especially the younger ones. Maybe even more of them. So if you find these tips are helpful, you know what? You really need to get in contact with her. They have a place where you put your name, your email address, and you can send a message. So I'm going to give you that website address again. It's teacherbuddyhelps.com. These were awesome tips. And then, again, whether that's school, a lot of churches, take trips with their students, or even if you're going on a missionary trip and you're taking younger folks out there, even if they're teenagers, you still need a list of rules. I'm telling you, kids are kids. My name is Donna Feazell. Thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio. I hope these tips were helpful for you. A lot of missionary trips and things are coming up pretty soon, so I hope this is a huge help. You take care. You can find us on the internet at icradio.media, icradio.media. You can also find us on television, channel 182 in North Alabama, Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Watch us every day for the weather report and the traffic report. And you know something? We even have sports history coming up now at 6 p.m. You stay tuned. Thank you again so much for watching.